Good morning, I'm Maddie Jansen, and this is the podcast of 17 News at Sunrise. It's everything you need to know to start your day in about 15 minutes.
The spirit of the Golden Empire. This is 17 News at Sunrise.
Right now at 5, wicked weather.
One of our readings from our PG&E weather station topped 100 miles per hour.
Hurricane force winds push flames across Northern California, and nearly 200,000 people have evacuated. Hundreds of thousands could still lose power, and officials say things could get worse. The latest on the wind, the wildfires, and what this means for Kern.
Breaking overnight, a man is dead after being shot in Wasco. What we're learning still ahead.
We're tracking those public safety power shutoffs, thousands across the state in the dark. We'll tell you how many local customers could lose power as strong winds persist. This is Monday, October 28th, 2019. Good morning. Great to have you with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher. We're tracking a lot this morning, including a brand new wildfire to our south.
Yeah, we'll get to that fire in just a moment. But first, we're taking a look at your local forecast because, it's been a busy weekend and things continue to get busy as we go on to the week.
Yeah, weather has been erratic from the north to the south. In fact, another 40 million people under the gun for seeing some strong winds as we go throughout the afternoon. We were talking about the fires in Northern California. We have not seen a weather event up to the north since 2017 as we're seeing right now. So it's been crazy the last few days in terms of the fire weather and the fires that are burning. Now, I want to talk air quality a little bit because if you drove around yesterday, it was just nasty. And that was a mix of some of the smoke making its way into Kern County and also some of the blowing dust because we did see some strong winds on the west side. Here's our real-time readings right now, and you can see they're not bad. They're still in the good range in all locations. And I expect this to kind of slip into the moderate range throughout the day. We're currently at 46 degrees in Bakersfield, so temperatures have plummeted here. And yesterday, the winds with that trough pushing on through and getting the colder air on the backside of it now. We have a north wind at 6 miles per hour. As we take a look at the Valley Planner, we should be looking at some lower 50s, some upper 40s by 7 a.m. Still going to call for a little bit of a haze throughout the day out there. By noontime, 64 and a nice 71 by 3 o'clock. Now for the mountains, you're at 39 degrees currently. You have that easterly wind at 13, 22% on the humidity. And as we take a look at the current winds, not bad right now, but those will pick up a little bit as we go throughout the morning. And then we'll get a little bit of a break in the wind action throughout this afternoon. But then by late tonight into tomorrow, they're going to pick up once again. Now, the red flag warning is in place for us until 6 p.m. this evening. Winds out of the northeast and east 10 to 15. We could see some wind gusts through the canyons about 45 miles per hour, and humidity values to about 5 to 10% for the Kern County mountain locations. Now, we'll start out in the 30s, 54 at noon, and by 3 o'clock, we're looking a little hazy and a temperature right near 56. We'll have much more in your forecast that's coming up in just a bit, but first, let's see how the morning commute's going. We'll send that over to Alex.
All right, thanks so much, Kevin. Taking you outside for the first time this morning to the 99 at Airport Drive, and it's looking pretty clear on that side of town. Everything else around the county also looking pretty good to start off your Monday morning. Just keep in mind, like Kev mentioned, those gusty winds over the passes could be an issue for you if you are driving through those areas, especially if you're in a high-profile vehicle. But right now, everything's looking pretty good across the county. We'll have another look coming up in about 15 minutes. Following some breaking news out of Los Angeles, a fast-moving brush fire is threatening homes near the Getty Center off the 405 freeway and Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah, that's just north of UCLA. Here's a map showing exactly where this fire is along the 405 in relation to UCLA. You see that down on the bottom right-hand side of your screen. And let's take you to some video now of what it looks like. And this is being called a dynamic fire. It's burned at least 70 acres at last check, but it's very fast-moving. And evacuations are being ordered on the west side of the 405.
And again, this is on the west side, so even though the fire is burning just north of UCLA, at this time, there is not an evacuation order in place for UCLA, and it is burning west. That means that areas that have an evacuation warning include Pacific Palisades and the Topanga Canyon area. And right now, at this hour, it is about 100 acres in size.
All right, so we're going to continue tracking the Getty fire for you. It just broke out this morning, again, near the 405. A lot of evacuations being ordered this morning. And again, it's being called a dynamic fire, so situations could change very quickly. So we'll keep track for you and keep you updated here on 17 News at Sunrise.
And wildfires do continue to rage across the state. One of the biggest active fires right now is the Kincaid fire burning in the Bay Area. Officials say the Kincaid fire spread to more than 54,000 acres. That's more than 84 square miles. This fire started on Wednesday, and at last check, the fire is only 5% contained. Nearly 200,000 people are under evacuation orders in the area. Additionally, 94 structures have been destroyed, and a red flag warning is still in effect. Officials say at least 2 firefighters have been injured battling the fire.
Let me be precise. Kincaid fire remains the most stubborn challenge that we face and is immediately of top priority and focus.
CAL FIRE said it did not expect to get full containment on the wind-whipped wildfire until November 7th.
All right, meantime, some good news to our south. The Tick fire is nearly contained. The fire started around Thursday afternoon on Tick Canyon Road and quickly took off. Within 20 minutes, the flames had spread to 200 acres. The fire spread to 4,600 acres of land eventually. Up to 50,000 people were evacuated in Santa Clarita when the fire was at its worst. 22 structures have been destroyed and another 27 damaged. On Saturday, firefighters took advantage of calmer winds to grow their containment, but strong winds returned overnight.
And those fires and the threat of others led to another round of PG&E power shutoffs.
Over the weekend, nearly 940,000 homes and businesses across the state lost power. Now the company's warning even more power shutoffs could be coming this week. 17's Tabitha Mills is tracking those for us this morning in the newsroom. Tab?
That's right. Good morning, Maddie and Alex. The warnings and shutoffs seem to keep coming. At the last check, there were not any PG&E customers in Kern County without power. The majority of people without power are in the Bay Area and Southern California. These areas are experiencing fast-moving wildfires, including the Kincaid fire, which you just heard about. All over the state, forecasters are warning about dry conditions and powerful winds that have the potential to spread massive wildfires. And PG&E says a third severe wind event is expected for tomorrow and Wednesday. The company also says people who are already or who have already had their power cut during the current shutoff may have to go without electricity even longer. Again, this is being considered. PG&E has not made any decisions on future outages. But of course, PG&E is not the only utility cutting power. Southern California Edison still has Kern on its list of possible shutoffs. Millions of people in Central and Southern California are under consideration. According to Edison's website, more than 20,000 homes and businesses in the Tehachapi and Kern River Valley areas could still have their power shut off. As of now, there are no SoCal Edison shutoffs in the Kern area. If you or someone you know will face a power shutoff, here are some tips on how to prepare. A few things you're going to want to have on hand in case of an outage: extra cash, batteries for flashlights, and candles. You'll also want to charge up your electronic devices and phones early in case of a shutoff, and make sure your car has enough gas in its tank. The pumps at gas stations won't work when there isn't any power. If a fire breaks out near you and you're forced to evacuate, the same rules apply. But you'll also want to think about taking photos of your insurance policies in case the paper copies get destroyed. And make sure to bring any medications or first aid kits with you. And you can head to kget.com or our social media sites for more information on power safety shutoffs. You can also download our KGET app to have the latest information sent directly to your phone. Maddie and Alex will send it back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Tab. Again, just a reminder on how to sign up for those public safety power shutoff alerts. If you are a PG&E customer, you can get alerts sent to your phone. Text enroll to 97633. And SoCal Edison customers can sign up for alerts by going to the Outage Alert Preferences page in your SCE.com profile. You'll need an SCE.com user ID to complete the process. All right, we're following breaking news of a deadly shooting that happened just a few hours ago in Wasco. Around 3 this morning, deputies were called out to a shooting in the 800 block of Highway 46. One man was pronounced dead at the scene. He had at least one gunshot wound. So far, no information about a possible suspect. Investigators are still working to figure out exactly what happened. The Kern County Sheriff's Office expects to be out there for several more hours. This morning's killing is the 10th. Let's go see. It's the 86th homicide this year. That is 12 fewer from this time last year. And we continue to track homicides through our homicide tracker on kget.com.
And a lot of fires broke out in California this week, including one near San Bernardino.
What one family discovered when they were able to return home.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News with Maddie Jansen, Alex Fisher, and Kevin Charette with your Pinpoint Doppler forecast. This is 17 News at Sunrise.
Family in Santa Clarita was able to escape the flames as the tick fire inched closer to their Canyon Country neighborhood. But when they returned, the fire had destroyed their home and even claimed the lives of some of their pets. Rick Chambers reports.
We didn't get anything out of the house. When we came back up, the main thing was to get whatever live animals were here and leave because the winds were picking back up.
Samantha Hull was at work when the tick fire charged toward her hilltop ranch here in Sand Canyon. Her partner, Sammy, raced home too.
We had maybe 20 or 30 minutes, and by then it was basically surrounding us.
Samantha rescued her mom from the burning home and tried to get her pets out.
The dogs came first, so we started grabbing dogs and putting them into whatever cars we could fit them into. And then by the time I came back out of the house, the flames were on this hill, and I opened what gates I could, and then I opened all the bird cages. I grabbed one last dog, and I got in the car, and then by then, the flames were on our plateau on the house.
Most of the chickens, ducks, and pigeons are okay.
We ended up taking bunnies, a few turtles. We got the small animals out. And after that, it was, we couldn't go any further than that.
This pig named Cupid made it out alive, along with this sheep. But 3 others, sadly, did not. Samantha also lost her grandma's ashes and an assortment of small pets that were in the house.
We had a chinchilla, a cockatiel, all of my reptiles. I had snakes and a chameleon, and my rabbits, and my cat.
Samantha's old dog, Casey, though, is still missing.
I just hope that she got out. I can't find her remains, so I'm assuming she did. I want to assume she did, but I'm not sure. So I have him locked up right now. He's enclosed.
Samantha has been getting a lot of helpful calls from her friends, but the immediate future for the family is a bit blurred.
I don't know. We're going one day at a time right now, so whatever we end up is where we're going to go.
It kind of feels like a nightmare that you're trapped in right now, because it's just like coming up and seeing the animals here and just knowing that some are still out there, but not knowing if they're alive or gone it's awful.
That was Rick Chambers reporting.
It just shows you how devastating these fires are, and again, it goes to show you how fast they burn as well.
Absolutely. All right, well, still ahead this morning, if you're flying United, a little extra room might be in store for you.
Yeah, the moves the airline is making to make sure everything fits. That's coming up after this.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
And Lyft is launching a new initiative that gives riders free or discounted rides to job interviews and for the first 3 weeks of employment. The rideshare company says the Jobs Access program aims to close the short-term transportation gap for job access and training in low-income communities. In its program announcement, it said, for the unemployed, reliable transportation to a job interview for the first few weeks of work can mean the difference between successful long-term employment and lost opportunities. Lyft is partnering with national and local organizations, including the United Way and National Down Syndrome Society, to offer it to those in need. The program will be available in more than 35 markets in the U.S. and Canada. United Airlines says it's boosting the size of its overhead bins. The company announced on Friday it plans to add bigger overhead bins on most of its planes. United says the new, larger bins will provide enough space for one bag for every passenger on domestic flights. They'll start adding bins on older planes next year and hope to have the feature on 80% of its fleet by 2023. The airline is hoping the move will improve the boarding process and take some of the stress out of travel. A flight attendant for Southwest Airlines is making a shocking claim. She says 2 pilots were live streaming video from cameras inside the airplane bathroom. NBC's Kathy Park has the story.
Southwest flight attendant Renee Steinacher says she became physically ill after witnessing what she says were two pilots secretly recording and streaming video from a hidden camera in the bathroom.
She was horrified.
She's filed a lawsuit against them, alleging she saw an iPad mounted to the windshield of the cockpit and identified the image as a pilot, Captain Terry Graham, in the lavatory.
A cockpit is a serious place, and it's certainly not a place for frat boys or frat boy conduct or for pilots to use it as a playground for a peeping Tom.
Steinacher says a co-pilot, Ryan Russell, told her not to tell anyone about the camera or the recordings because they were on the down low.
She took a screenshot of the iPad because she wanted to preserve that as evidence.
The suit also claims she was told the cameras were new and that they were on all of Southwest Airlines 737-800s and that they were in all lavatories aboard that flight. Southwest told NBC News it will vigorously defend the lawsuit. We can confirm from our investigation that there was never a camera in the lavatory. The incident was an inappropriate attempt at humor, which the company did not condone. We've reached out to the pilot's attorneys and have not heard back. Steinacher says a possibility that she was recorded disrobing and using the toilet led to emotional and mental injuries. After more than 20 years with Southwest, her attorney says she's still with the airline but wants justice. Kathy Park, NBC News.